Welcome to Drupal Brief. This is an AI-generated summary of another video, podcast, or blog post. If you want to learn more about what's being discussed here, then please go check out the source. This podcast is sponsored by Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is an open-source, lightning-fast demo, development, and testing platform. It spins up Drupal sites in less than 5 seconds, complete with a browser-based VS Code. Want to try Drupal CMS, Drupal AI, Experience Builder? No need to install anything on your laptop. Drupal Forge has you covered. Even Composer, Drush, and AI keys are pre-installed so you can hit the ground running. Demo Drupal in less than 5 seconds only at Drupal Forge. Please take a second to click subscribe. We're a new podcast and this helps us a lot. Okay, that's it. Ready? Here we go.
Welcome to a deep dive that offers a shortcut to being truly well-informed, packed with surprising facts, and maybe just enough humor to keep you hooked. Today, we're plunging into the world of HTMX. It's this intriguing JavaScript library, and we're looking at its, groundbreaking impact on web development, particularly within the massive open-source project, Drupal.
Right.
Our insights today are drawn directly from a really fascinating conversation. It was on They Talk in Drupal, #514 HTMX, YouTube video transcript. It featured Carson Gross, who actually created HTMX, and Sean Duncan, a key figure in Drupal's core development.
Yeah, a great discussion.
So our mission for you today is to illuminate what HTMX actually is, why its unique approach is, turning heads in modern web experiences, and importantly, how it's poised to transform a platform as big and established as Drupal. Prepare to discover how you can maybe achieve quick, responsive web applications without all that traditional overhead.
Yeah.
We're aiming for some significant aha moments for you, but without the information overload. So let's start with this quest, this desire to make websites feel more like desktop applications, seamless and fast. Our source material even kicked off with a module of the week that really gets this whole discussion going.
That's right. Yeah, that module is called Refreshless. It was originally created back in March 2016 by Weimers, though recent releases are by Ambient Impact. Its core purpose really is to give Drupal sites that smooth app-like experience where interactions just feel immediate, snappy.
Okay, but how does it do that? Without a full page refresh. That always seems like the tricky part. What's the mechanism?
Well, it uses JavaScript, but selectively. It only updates the necessary bits of the page, avoiding those, jarring full-page refreshes we all hate. Crucially, it uses the HTML5 history API. That's the browser's own way of managing navigation history.
Okay.
So it helps maintain that normal browsing behavior. It feels like you're moving between pages, but smoothly. And for older browsers that don't support it, it just falls back, defaults to a standard refresh.
That's smart.
Yeah, and it can add visual enhancements, too. It can use transitions, either with or without the newer View Transition API, for morphing effects or persistent elements.
Sounds quite flexible. Does it mean you have to totally rebuild your site structure, or can you sort of ease it in?
No, not at all, actually. It works without needing changes to your existing structure. Standard headers, footers, sidebars, they just stay as they are. One technical note, though, people might hit issues if they use Refreshless with JS aggregation turned on.
The combining of JavaScript files?
Exactly. So HTTP2 hosting, the more modern protocol, is probably a better bet. And interestingly, it's currently built on the Turbo library, which came out of the Ruby on Rails world.
Okay, so a module bringing this refreshless idea to Drupal. What's its current status and where's it heading?
Well, this is where it gets really relevant for us today. There's an active issue open right now to move its implementation over to use HTMX instead.
Oh, interesting. So it connects directly.
Directly, yeah. And while the project page looks good, it even has this cool retro logo, and there's a link to Omnipedia, the site using it in production. The usage trend is, pretty surprising. Back in its early days, it had over 150 sites using it.
Wow.
But today, only 2 sites are actually reporting usage statistics.
That is a huge drop. Any ideas why? What might have happened?
Could be a few things, really. Maybe updates were slow when Drupal 9 was the focus, or, the rise of headless Drupal.
Right, where the front end is totally separate.
Exactly. If you're building a decoupled front end anyway, maybe you don't need a module like Refreshless quite as much. There are also maybe some accessibility questions, like whether it respects the prefers reduced motion setting in browsers. That's important.
Definitely.
But like I said, the fact that Refreshless wants to move to HTMX leads us perfectly into our next bit. Let's really unpack HTMX itself.
Okay, let's do that. Let's unpack this. What exactly is HTMX? And why are people calling it, a game changer or a significant shift?
So HTMX is a front-end library. You could conceptually put it in the same category as maybe React or jQuery, though it's very different in size and philosophy. It's described as hypermedia-oriented.
Hypermedia-oriented, what does that mean in practice?
It means it focuses on extending the web's fundamental building blocks, specifically links and forms. It's not about asking you to build your entire app in JavaScript from the ground up. The core idea is generalizing those basic web concepts.
So taking something simple like a link or a form and making it more powerful.
Exactly. Like standard HTML links mostly do GET requests, right? And forms do POST.
Yeah.
HTMX blows that open. It lets you easily use all 5 main HTTP verbs, get, post, put, patch, and delete directly from HTML elements. But the real magic, and here's maybe one of those aha moments for you.
Okay, ready.
It comes from its key functions. First, any HTML element can become what it calls a hypermedia control. It can respond to basically any event in the DOM.
The document object model, the web page structure.
Right. Not just clicks. Any event. And second, and this is huge, instead of a full page refresh, HTMX lets you take the HTML that comes back from the server, which might just be a fragment, not a whole page, and insert it anywhere you want in the current page's DOM using standard CSS selectors. You know, the rules we use to style things.
Okay, hold on. So the big takeaway isn't just no full page refresh. It's like surgical precision.
Exactly.
Instead of reloading everything just to update, I don't know, a shopping cart icon number.
Right.
HTMX lets you target just that number and swap it out. That must make things feel incredibly fast.
It does. Huge efficiency gain. Makes things feel really snappy.
So how do you actually do that? Is it tons of complex JavaScript setup?
And this is the other beautiful part. It's almost entirely attribute-driven. You just add special attributes directly to your HTML tags. It's very similar to how you'd add an href attribute to a standard link tag.
Attributes, okay.
This leads to a massive benefit for developers, something called locality of behavior.
Locality of behavior.
Yeah, it basically means the code that makes a button do something lives right there on the button's HTML tag.
Ah. So you don't have to go digging through separate JavaScript files trying to figure out what selector targets this button and what it does.
Precisely. The aha moment there is just looking at the HTML tells you what it does. It speeds up development, makes maintenance way easier. Now, it's a trade-off, maybe, with the traditional idea of separation of concerns, but wow, it makes things intuitive.
Simplicity is definitely appealing. But often, simple tools struggle with complex UI patterns, don't they? How does HTMX handle more sophisticated stuff without becoming complicated itself?
That's kind of its unique selling point. Despite being conceptually small and really stable, its core API hasn't really changed much since it first came out. There's no hidden magic.
Right.
It actually started as intercooler.js 2.0, basically a rewrite to remove the old jQuery dependency. Despite that simplicity, it has this amazing power-to-weight ratio. It lets you build surprisingly complex UIs pretty easily, like infinite scroll. Maybe 3 or 4 HTMX attributes on an element, active search showing results as you type. Again, surprisingly straightforward.
No.
And it's very web platform centric. It hooks into standard browser stuff, standard DOM, APIs, and events. It doesn't lock you into one specific front-end framework's ecosystem.
You should probably mention the person behind it, too. Sounds like there's a strong philosophy driving HTMX.
Yeah, Carson Gross. He created HTMX. He also teaches computer science at Montana State University. He's kind of a general cheerleader for HTMX adoption. He wrote a book, Hypermedia Systems, that gets into the theory. And he has this fantastic, humorous website called grugbrain.dev. It offers some really sharp, funny takes on programming philosophies. Highly recommend checking it out.
It's definitely an intriguing balance, isn't it? That mix of like deep simplicity but real power in HTMX. Feels like it lets people use web fundamentals in new ways to add features that used to be really hard or just required mountains of JavaScript.
Absolutely. It's about making powerful web interactions more accessible, more intuitive again.
So now we get HTMX. Let's shift focus. Why is a huge project like Drupal deciding to integrate this at its core? What's the strategic thinking there? This feels like a big move.
Well, to really get that, you kind of need to look at Drupal's history. Its current Ajax system. It's old. Built way back in 2007. It was based on something called AHA back then, relied heavily on jQuery, and honestly, it's widely seen as pretty complicated.
Complicated how?
It often needed very specific HTML-ID attributes on elements just to target them. Sometimes you needed extra wrapper divs just for the Ajax system to work. For developers, that meant writing extra markup, maybe defining lots of specific selectors. It just made building dynamic interfaces more cumbersome than it needed to be. The code could get harder to read, harder to maintain.
Okay, so definitely room for improvement on the developer experience side.
Oh, absolutely. And the benefits of switching to HTMX for Drupal are really significant. First off, simpler code. Easier to write, easier to maintain. That's huge for a project this size.
Yeah, maintainability is key.
And it drastically cuts down Drupal's reliance on jQuery. That means smaller downloads for users, faster page loads, less JavaScript weight overall.
That's always good.
Plus, HTMX uses modern CSS selectors. No more need for those arbitrary IDs or special prefixes in the render system just to target an element. And maybe most importantly, HTMX speaks HTML. It expects HTML back from the server. Drupal is really good at generating HTML. It's a natural fit.
It sounds like a really good match.
Yeah.
How is this whole integration effort actually happening within the Drupal community? Is it like a top-down decision or more grassroots?
It's very much a community initiative, which is often how the best things happen in Drupal. It's not listed as like a core strategic initiative, but you can find it on the community initiatives page on Drupal.org. Most of the discussion happens in the #HTMX channel on the Drupal Slack.
Gotcha.
Key people involved include Sean Duncan, who's one of the maintainers for Drupal Core's Ajax subsystem already, plus other core front-end folks like Pierre Theodore, Nathaniel Katch, a strong team. Getting HTMX added as an official dependency actually involved a bit of process. They needed to make sure HTMX had a private security reporting procedure on its GitHub repo.
The joys of managing dependencies in a big project.
Exactly. But Carson Gross, the HTMX creator, was apparently really quick to respond and help get that sorted.
Good stuff. Has there been any, concrete proof this will actually work in Drupal? A test case?
Yes, absolutely. They did a successful proof of concept, or POC. They swapped out the old Ajax system and used HTMX for the single file upload feature in the configuration import-export section.
Okay, that's a common task developers use in the backend.
Right, and it worked perfectly. It even showed HTMX could handle what they call out-of-band swaps.
Meaning
Meaning a single request could trigger updates in multiple separate parts of the page, which is essential for modern UIs.
Okay, that's a solid proof point.
And here's maybe the most exciting part for developers listening right now. The HTMX library is already in Drupal core. It landed in Drupal 11.2.
Already there.
Yep. Which means today you can start sprinkling HTMX attributes directly into your Twig templates if you want to.
Twig being Drupal's templating engine.
Correct. So developers can start playing with it immediately.
That's fantastic for getting people started. What about the existing Ajax code in Drupal modules?
Yeah.
And how will developers interact with this new system more formally? Is it just attributes everywhere?
Good question. The plan isn't really an automated conversion of all the old Ajax code. That would be messy.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Instead, they're proposing a parallel system. It uses a new key in Drupal's render arrays. Those are Drupal's structured way of defining bits of UI. The new key is #HTMFX. The idea is this provides a simpler API, a cleaner interface for developers to use HTMX features through Drupal's backend systems.
So side by side for a while.
Exactly. It allows for a gradual refactoring of modules and themes over time. The old Ajax API classes, they're likely targeted for disruptive deprecation in Drupal 13.
Disruptive deprecation sounds serious.
It means they'll stick around for a couple more major versions, giving the contributed module ecosystem time to adapt, but the writing's on the wall.
Makes sense. You mentioned Big Pipe earlier as being important. How did that fit into proving HTMX was viable?
Ah, right. BigPipe is Drupal's system for streaming page content to the browser, making pages feel faster. It was pretty tightly coupled to the old Ajax API.
Okay.
A major step was successfully decoupling BigPipe from that old system. Now it actually uses HTMX's swap functionality internally to process the streamed HTML fragments. It's dealing with HTML directly, not JSON data blobs.
So it's using HTMX under the hood now.
Essentially, yes. For the client-side part of processing those streamed chunks, this was a huge validation that Drupal could move away from the old Ajax system's dependencies. Now, there's still some follow-up work. The first step decoupled the front-end JavaScript part. There's another issue open to fully remove the old PHP classes on the back end and switch things like status messages to use HTML templating properly with HTMX.
Right. It's never just one step, is it? Especially in a project this size. You mentioned dependency issues earlier, like that Symfony event dispatcher thing. Managing stability versus progress must be a constant balancing act.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge challenge at Drupal scale. Small changes can have unexpected ripple effects. That's why HTMX's stability is actually a really big plus.
Oh, so.
Because its API has been so stable over time, it's less likely to cause churn or unexpected breakage down the line. You don't want a core dependency that's constantly changing its fundamental behavior. That would create more problems than it solves for Drupal.
That makes a lot of sense. So for listeners who are intrigued by this, maybe Drupal developers or just folks interested in HTMX, how can they get involved or follow along?
Definitely jump into the hashtag HTMX channel on the official Drupal Slack. That's where the main day-to-day discussion happens. You can also search the Drupal.org issue queue for issues tagged HTMX initiative. That'll show you all the related tasks. They hold bi-weekly coordination meetings, usually announced in the Slack channel. And right now, what's really needed is help with reviews, code reviews, testing merge requests. The goal is to have a really solid, full-featured HTMX subsystem ready around Drupal 11.3. So soon there will be lots of opportunities to contribute by testing, building out new features, using the hashtag HTMX key, and converting existing core functionalities.
Great call to action there. So let's try and wrap this up. What does this all really mean?
Well, I think it means HTMX offers this really streamlined yet powerful way to handle web interactivity. And for Drupal, it's transforming how it approaches front-end development. It's leaning into simplicity, leaning into the core principles of the web itself, HTML over the wire.
Getting more done, perhaps with less complex tooling. Bringing that power to create really dynamic UIs back towards simpler, more accessible patterns.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's a provocative thought for you to ponder. How might this shift, this move towards declarative hypermedia approaches like HTMX, challenge the sort of dominant idea that you need complex, heavy JavaScript frameworks for any dynamic web experience? Could this be part of a trend back towards more fundamental web principles, maybe enabling simpler, faster, more developer-friendly web apps in the future? What parts of your own projects or web experiences you use could maybe be simplified or enhanced just by sprinkling in a bit of HTMX?
It's definitely food for thought. And if you are curious to learn more after this, we absolutely recommend checking out the HTMX docs at htmx.org. They're excellent. Carson Gross's book, Hypermedia Systems, is great for the deeper theory. His grugbrain.dev site is worth a visit for the perspective and the laughs. And of course, dive into the Drupal HTMX initiative on drupal.org and join the hashtag HTMX Slack channel. There's a ton of great info and discussion happening there.
That is a wrap on today's Drupal brief. Remember, this was an AI-generated summary, so be sure to check out the original source for the full story and all the details. Before you go, if what you heard today got you excited about trying something new in Drupal, remember that Drupal Forge has you covered. Whether you want to test that new module, demo a concept to your team, or just explore the latest Drupal features, you're literally 5 seconds away from a fully loaded development environment. No downloads, no setup, no hassle. Just pure Drupal innovation at your fingertips. If this episode was helpful, please hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It really helps other Drupal developers discover the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next Drupal brief.